coming to get you, Barbara.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. The unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
Welcome to a podcast from beneath. This week we are talking with David Howard Thornton from Terrifier. David, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Aaron, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Billy, how you doing?
Pretty good. I got the house to myself tonight. The girlfriend went out of town.
There you go.
You can run around naked.
Yeah,
Doing that right now, though.
I already did the risky business.
Oh, you did?
Thing. I recreated it.
All right, so David, first question for you. This is our icebreaker question we do. Favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror. I don't really have a favorite, but I always like to name my top 5. I guess that works.
Go ahead.
So, in no particular order, I would say Exorcist, The Omen, original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, original Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3: Dream Warriors.
Oh wow!
Part
man.
3. That's like an odd pick there.
Yeah,
Number 3, Dream Warriors.
it just seemed like that's where everything, like, they figured out what they were doing. Everything just seemed to really click. So I was like, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's
one of the better sequels.
The first one's a close second, though. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
I say most people go. Most people in here they go with just Halloween as like their favorite altogether.
yeah,
Never had just a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 though.
yeah, gotta be a first time for everything.
There you go. Yeah, first time.
Has anybody ever said the sequel? That's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street.
The sequel.
I know everybody hates it.
Oh, you mean part 2?
Yeah, part 2 of Nightmare
I
on Elm
don't
Street.
hate it.
I mean, I don't hate it either, but I see a lot of
Yeah.
people like, man, that movie sucks.
It's not the greatest, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
They tried something new, and they were like, okay, that
Yeah.
didn't work. That's
I
why,
think-
like,
I agree
part
with
3,
you.
they come back, and they're
I
like,
think a lot
okay.
of people started picking up on maybe that part 2 had some gay undertones to it.
Yeah.
I think that's like a big thing now that everybody goes to.
Oh, yeah, it was the 80s. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A different time. Yeah.
Yeah, different time.
Lots of neon.
Yeah. Lot.
All right. So how did you get started in acting?
I got started oddly enough, considering who I am known for now, doing church theater of all things.
Oh wow.
Yeah, plays about Jesus,
Yeah.
Moses and the freedom fanatics, and Jonah and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh wow, I went from like, yay Jesus, to like, yeah, let's cut someone in half with a hacksaw.
There you go.
It's like, hey, I'm like
Hey.
Moses parting the Red Sea.
That's right.
That's wrong.
Man, I will say, Terrifier. I just happened, I just go through all these movies, all the streaming services, and then I saw it on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to watch it. And I'll tell you what, I love that. I mean, I was just blown away. I was just like, holy crap! I've never seen, some of the scenes in that movie are just, it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
Crazy, off the
good.
wall.
Now it
So-
started off as a short, correct?
It did.
Yeah.
There was a short that Damien made way back in like early 2010s or something like that called Terrifier, but that's where the name came from too. It was just the short he did, and he ended up putting that short into All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the big Art the Clown short that they had in All Hallows Eve. So yeah.
Now I guess was your first thing after the church plays, was it the video game voice acting?
No. I first started doing community theater, so I did a lot of children's theater, oddly enough, too. So, yeah, that's where I really did a lot of physical comedy. So that's where I really started off doing all the stuff that evolved in what became Art the Clown one day, because it's like kids were more into that kind of physical humor instead of the verbal humor. So that's where I perfected that craft. And then I ended up moving up to New York, and I did some off-Broadway shows. Then I eventually did 5 years. I toured with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, where I played Grandpa Who, and also understudied the Grinch. And our Grinch was the wonderfully talented Stephen Carl, who was Robbie Rotten on the show Lazy Town. So he was a great physical comedian. And so he was really able to take me under his wing and really mentor me and fine tune a lot of my skills and stuff like that. So I put a lot of what he did into art as well. It's like there were moments on set where I was like, okay, how would Stefan approach this scene? And I was just like, okay, now I know what to do. So it's like, yeah. So, man, I did voiceover in there as well during all that. So because I could, record a project voiceover work and then go on the road and tour and stuff like that, come back do some more voiceover. So I did some video games. I've done some animated series. So it's, wherever the work is, I'll go. And that's what I'm not trying to pigeonhole myself into one thing like stage or voiceover. I'm willing to do whatever, because I'm just I love doing it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go wherever the work is.
See, I always thought voiceover work, I thought that'd be a pretty cool job. I mean, you don't have to be on camera. You can probably just do it from home, I guess, now.
yeah. That's what's so crazy about it. You don't have to worry about what you look like, so you can play characters that you could never play otherwise. It's like one of the video games I did way back in the day called Ride to Hell Retribution, which is a horrible game, unfortunately.
I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, you actually one of the few people that knows that game. Oh, my God. So I always call that my humble beginning phase, because it's like they sold that game like it was going to be to me like it was going to be a cross between Sons of Anarchy and Grand Theft Auto, and I recorded it 2 or 3 years before it actually came out.
Wow.
And apparently they just stopped making it for a while, and they're like, oh yeah, we have to finish this game, so they just rushed it all at the last second. So they took out big chunks of stuff. They just half-assed everything, it seemed like, especially when it came to a lot of the voiceover work. They used some of my rehearsal takes where I was reading the lines to myself, and I'm like, why the hell did you use that take?
I was wondering why the main character was talking about going to Burger King after. It kind of threw it off.
It was weird. It was the first boss you fight in the game, that's me. I'm Anvil. I'm the big huge. That was me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was Anvil. That was me. It was really weird killing myself in a game, too. I was like, and I got I got an achievement for it and everything. I'm like, oh, wow, that's the first time you get an achievement killing yourself in life, I guess. I'm like, yay. Yeah, I played him and this guy named Dr. Blotter, who was kind of Cheech and Chong. So it was it was fun when I was recording it, but they just chopped it up. They took out big chunks of dialogue, and so I was like, oh no.
It's like they got high and forgot. They're like, oh shit, we're supposed to make a game.
It's got to be out next month. Okay, here.
Yeah.
It's like, if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It just I couldn't even finish the game, and I'm a completionist. And I was like, it just got to a point where I would just drive down the road and my bike would just explode for no reason. Yeah. I'm like, I can't pass this level because my bike just randomly explodes. So I'm like, well, fuck it.
Is it hard to convey emotion when you do these voiceovers? Here's the scene, because you're not actually in it. You gotta I guess imagine. Is it hard to put emotion into it, or?
It can't. I actually have to I just can't stand there and just read the lines. I actually kind of have to act things out myself. So I probably look like I am absolutely batshit crazy when I'm in a recording booth, because I'm jumping around, flailing my arms around, and no one can see me doing this. But I do it for myself just to get that, especially for fight scenes and stuff like that, because it's fight scenes are different, because it's one thing to actually do it live or in an actual fight scene when you're doing film work and stuff like that, so you naturally have the grunts and the impact sounds. Voiceover work, you actually sit there and it basically it sounds like you're doing a porno because you're just sitting there going, ugh, ugh. It's just like, oh no. Like someone just walk in the room, like, what's going on in here?
Yeah, walk by the door, do a double take, like, what?
Oh no, it's just
Somebody's
like,
sick in there.
yeah. It sounds really weird. It's like there's this one game I was doing. It's called Invisible. So I was having to voice all these like different animal creatures, and they all have like their special attacks and stuff like that. Like one of them was a samurai pig that I was playing as. And so I had to like do those fight sounds, but also as those creatures too. So there's like this one called Toxitoad, and so he was like spit like things of like bile at people, like poisonous bile. So I had to, it sounded gross because I'm just in there just going, and I'm like, oh no, this sounds like I have like coronavirus. This is bad. They're like, that's exactly what we want. I'm like, are you guys not hurling right now? Because I'm about to hurl because these sounds sound gross. But I'm like, that's exactly what we need. I'm like, okay. It's fun though. It's fun because it's like, yeah, you get paid to do this too. So I just go in there and make these weird sounds. They're like, here you go, here's a check. I'm like, cool.
So what was the audition like for Art the Clown?
That was the most different type of audition I've ever had in my life because all these, especially for voiceover work, you have a script. And I walked in that room, the audition, like the holding room where everybody was sitting around, and they all had scripts in their hands, and I had a panic attack because I was never given a script. I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm here for my very first big film role, and I don't have a script. I'm not prepared. So I'm like, oh, no. And so they called me into the room almost immediately. I'm like, oh, no. So I'm like, I am so sorry. I never got a script or anything. Can I get one so I can, like, just take a few minutes to look over it? They're like, oh, you don't need one. I'm like, I do. Like, no, Art doesn't talk. Well, I know that, but I figured I'd get an idea what you need. So they're like, oh, no, just come up with a scene where you decapitate a guy with a, whatever, saw or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay. Can I have a minute to, like, think about it? Like, no, just go ahead and do it off the top of your head. We want to see you improv. I'm like, okay. And so I came up with this weird scene. I don't know where in the dark recesses of my brain this came from, but I did this whole thing like I cartoonishly snuck up behind my victim, like did the whole like shh, be very, very quiet thing, and like took out a hammer, slammed him in the head, knocked him out, take out a hacksaw and like sawed off his head, picked it up, tasted it, didn't like the taste. So I take out a salt shaker and start seasoning it. Taste again, give it a thumbs up, start bathing in the blood a little bit. Then I just skipped out on my merry way. And they're like, can you come in for a makeup test?
There's one scene I got a question about for you that I really enjoyed it. It's when you go into, I believe it's that burger joint and the girls are there.
Oh, the pizzeria scene, yeah.
Yeah. That scene. Now, what did you draw? I mean, what were you thinking of when you did that scene? You're just sitting there and you're just kind of, and then you do that creepy smile and then that wave you do.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I was kind of pulling from so many of these like crazy people I see on the subway sometimes that just stare at people like that. Because it does. People are weird here in New York sometimes. So like, especially like I've seen it happen to a lot of my female friends. But I was one time, I kind of pulled from this one experience I had where I was coming back from Coney Island on 4th of July. I was with my friends. So some of them were sitting across from me, while my friends next to me. There's this one seat next to me, and this drunk guy just sits next to me. And all of a sudden his face is like right next to mine. He's just staring at me. And so I feel him just breathing on my face. And I smell it, too, because all that beer on his breath. And I turn and just look at him. He's just staring at me. And I hear my friend next to me like, oh, God, David's about to die. And I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm going, okay, how can I just diffuse this situation in some way and just be, like, funny or something like that? So I just turn and look at him and go, what's up? And he just keeps looking at me and just goes, are you Irish?
Oh, you Irish.
Because I had an Irish soccer shirt at the time. And I'm like, okay, this could go two different ways depending on how I answer this question. So I'm like, but I am Irish, so I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, good. He's just like, you want a beer?
You should have threw in K. What?
It was, and after that, he was totally cool with me. But it's like, that's like my friends across from me. They were like clutching. They're just like, oh,
Oh my God, what's
God, oh no! But it was the most uncomfortable because he just kept staring at me like that. I'm like, it was a few minutes where he's just staring at me and breathing on my face. I'm just like, okay. So I guess I kind of pulled from that experience. I was like, let's just be the drunk guy on the train and just kind of stare at them. Like,
Well, it worked.
Plus, I used to also do that when I was a camp counselor. One time, these like kids when we're on the bus to camp one morning, these kids, like these teenagers in the back of the bus, were misbehaving, and I was a camp counselor at the time, so I was like, hey, sit down, shut up. You're getting out of line here. We don't have to listen to him. I was like, okay. And I just started staring at them, but with like my Joker smile. So I was like this. And at first, like, oh yeah, that's not funny, man. That's not good. I kept staring at them for minutes on end, not blinking even.
Wow.
And they're like, okay, man. Okay, stop, man. Stop it. And it's like the one of them just starts crying, because I was just freaking him out so much. And I just let it continue for a little bit. And I'm like, you gotta behave now? Like, okay, sorry. I was like, man, I can't believe that worked. It's like that just staring.
And that was the last time
Yeah.
you were a counselor.
He totally traumatized my kids, and he tied him up outside and hung him upside down and cut him in half.
Was the makeup for Art, was that already predetermined? Did they
Yeah.
did they wait to hire you to pick it out, or?
Oh, they had already done it with Mike Gianelli, who was the original Art the Clown. Yeah, so that was already prepared. They just want to make sure it looked right on me as well. So the funny thing is, I actually the mold that they used for the face, they did a mold of me, but something's weird with the mold, so they keep using Mike Gianelli's mold for me. And so it's like Damien really has to take his time gluing it all to my face just right, but it somehow works.
So
but it takes about 3 hours to put it all on.
Wow.
So it's just face appliances with
it's
the
just
paint and all that.
Yeah, it's just like this one big, huge gelatin mask that like Damien just slowly glues, starting from like usually my forehead down. He just slowly just glues everything down. So it takes a while, and then he has to paint it.
So it's a pretty small production, man, right? As far as crew.
Yeah. Damien does basically all the prosthetics and all the practical effects himself. He builds it all. And we have a second makeup assistant on set this time around who helps out with the girls and stuff like that, the other people. But like when it comes to like the battle damage and stuff like that, scars and cuts and stuff like that, Damien goes and puts all that on everybody as well. So the guy is definitely so freaking talented. He wears so many hats on set. I mean, he wrote it, directed it, does all the practical effects, edits everything. He's a one-man army.
All right, well, let's talk about probably, I'm going to say my favorite kill in the film. I'm sure it's everybody's. And that's going to be the hanging the girl upside down, naked, and chopping her in half. How awkward was it filming that with the actress?
It was very awkward. It was, because that was not an easy scene to film. It was a very dangerous scene to film too, because we did that. She was literally hanging upside down like that for hours. Yeah. We could only film in like 30-second chunks at a time, because we would have to swing her back up and let her relax and rest, because it's so dangerous to like do that to people. So it was very stressful. And it was very cold that night. We had no heat in that room. I think it was like about 20 degrees that night. So I mean, I was cold and I had clothes on. She was even colder and had blood on.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that was rough for her. But I mean, she was a total trooper with that all. It was just like, and the good thing was like everybody was very respectful that night too, because like that's a very compromising position for especially a young woman to be in. And it's a room full of guys too. It's like, So everybody was totally professional that night, everything like that. So it's because we all like love Catherine to death. It was just like, yeah, it's mutual respect there. And she was so gung ho for that scene too, because as dangerous as it was and uncomfortable it was, she knew what that scene was going to be one day. As soon as she read the script, she was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. I have to do this scene. There were people that turned down the script because of that scene, because they're like, I can't do that. I can't expose myself in such a vulnerable state. Which is like, oh, this is going to get everybody talking. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do it.
How many takes did you have to do it?
God, because since we're doing it like 30-second chunks at a time, it took probably a good 20 some odd takes, and different angles and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, we got to do it.
Right.
Because you want to make sure you get enough coverage for all of that. You want to make sure you get multiple takes just for safety reasons too, just in case something after some kind of glitch or something like that. So, but it took a while. It took all night. Yeah, but we got it.
No, I never watched the original like short that was on the what was it, All Hallows Eve?
Yes.
Is there a origin story of Art that was previously, or did you come up with something to base it off of?
We've basically, Damien and I have come up with his origin story ourselves, and so basically it's just the two of us that know who Art really is. No one else does yet, not even people in the cast.
Wow.
So yeah, it's something we've come up together. Because that was like one of the first things when I was on set my first day. I was like, okay, explain Art to me, everything about him. Like, who is he? Well, what was he before? Blah 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 blah. He's like, you know what? I don't really know. I just thought he was a cool looking clown character and wanted to make a movie about him. But let's come up with that together. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So over the years, we've just been really working on his backstory and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have like some clues in part 2 if you know where to look. But we don't want to just throw everything out to everybody all at once. I think a lot of mystery is a lot of fun. I mean, we might not even reveal everything about him, because it kind of like how the Joker is. You're not really supposed to know who the Joker was before he was the Joker. You know how he became the Joker when he was a Red Hood, but you don't know who he was before he was the Red Hood, I guess you could say.
Well, speaking of the Joker, you played the Joker in Nightwing, which was a series on YouTube, correct?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Now, what was that like, working on a YouTube web series, I guess?
Oh, that was a lot of fun, because it's a fan-made series, so it's like all of us are huge fans of the comic book. So it was just it was a work of love. It's something we all cared about doing, and we all had fun doing it. We didn't get paid or anything like that, but I didn't care. I was like, I get to play the Joker. I can't complain about this. Yeah, sure. I love the character. I've always wanted to play the character, so I was like, yeah, this is great. And like our writers for it, especially the guy that wrote all the Joker scenes, he knows how to write the character correctly. So it's like a lot of fun monologuing that I got to do.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that one out. Me and Billy, and I'm pretty sure Aaron is too. We're all comic book nerds.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. You gotta be. It's fun. It's modern day mythology.
Right.
Yeah.
I got like 5 big old boxes of comics.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, one of our production assistants, he does a lot of work for like I guess not necessarily pawn shops, but like comic shops, like those kind of shops. And so he showed me a picture of this room where it had like this whole entire back wall was filled with boxes of comic books. I'm like, that is my personal heaven right there. I was that's amazing.
What's your favorite comic book?
Oh boy. I mean, I love Batman, but I'm more of a Marvel guy myself as well. So I'm a big Spider-Man freak.
Spider-Man's a good one.
Yeah. I got hooked on that because of my cousins, because like his dad had tons of the old Spider-Man comics, so he would boxes and boxes and boxes of that. So every time they came to visit, they would just bring tons of comics and stuff like that. So it's all I just grew up reading those. I was like, these are great.
Now, you also worked on an episode of Gotham.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Wow.
that was a lot of fun too. I mean, like, I wish I had been able to play one of the main villains on there, but I unfortunately didn't get the chance to do that. But I got to create one of them, so that was cool. I was the orderly that created Solomon Grundy. I like dump his body in Slaughter Swamp. So that was a fun night.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just got to
Yeah,
play
that
this
is.
totally sleazoid guy who's paid off by the mob to do it. So I was like, this is great.
So are you currently filming Terrifier 2? Is that filming now or?
Yeah, well, we're on a little break right now because of the pandemic right now, but I'm like, we were almost finished when the lockdown happened here in New York, so that was a bummer. But like the week before, we had filmed probably our biggest set piece of the whole entire film. It's this big, huge crowd scene that has all kinds of crazy stuff happening, lots of stunt work and stuff like that. So we got the hardest part of the scene, the movie finished, so that was the good part. So, you know, I think I have maybe like 4 or 5 more days left on set, and we're going to start doing, I think, at the end of the month. So I'm excited because Damon's actually taken this time off to not only edit what we've already filmed, but he's added more to those scenes that we had to film. So he's like, well, you know, I already had these cool ideas for the kill scenes, but I've decided to add more to them. I'm like, okay, cool.
So it's going to be crazier and bloodier, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, even what we've already filmed with some of these kill scenes, it's like one of them is, in particular, it's just mean. It's brutal and mean, and it's like, oh, it just keeps going. It's just like, you think he's done? No, he does something else. It's just like, oh, my God, dude. It's like Damien said he was even getting queasy while he was editing that scene.
Wow.
So if it makes Damien queasy doing it, that's a good sign, because he doesn't get queasy over anything.
Now, out of all the, because there's a lot of like clown movies, right? Now, I'm a fan of It and Terrifier. Like I just think there's like, so do you think there's too many like clown movies? Why do you think there's so many movies?
No,
with
I don't
clowns?
really think so. I mean, it's like, because they're all different in their own way. I mean, Stitches is totally different from It. Clown is totally different from It, and all these other ones, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, totally different things as well. Then you get, as I see right behind you, Circus of the Dead.
Oh, I love that movie.
That movie is batshit crazy, gritty. That's a good psychological. It's like the end. Oh, I loved it. It was Billy Pond did such a great job with that one.
He's just so awesome to talk to. Yeah.
Oh, I
he's
love
a great
Billy.
guy.
Well, we have a fun rivalry with each other. We like to
Oh,
kid each
yeah.
other all the time. So yeah.
Dude, I was at the Bastrop Cult Classic Convention, and there was a guy dressed as Art, and then there was another guy dressed as Papa. Yeah. And it was all, you know, fun. You know, I mean, I saw it there. It was hilarious.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's like, I think both of our films have such a mutual respect for each other's films too. So, which is really cool to, you know, see too, because everybody's going, "Wow, you got to be hating them." Like, why?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a fun film. Like, why would I be hating on another clown film?
Well,
I love them.
It helps
us
like you said, it's different. Like Circus of the Dead and Terrifier. I mean,
totally
different films, man.
Different characters, different films. Is just like, they're all these different clown films are totally different from each other. And that's like when Damien came up with Art, that's why he came with Art the way he is. He wanted to make Art the polar opposite of Pennywise. Like, Pennywise is very colorful. Art is black and white. Pennywise has hair. Art is bald. Bless you. Pennywise talks all the time. Art is completely silent. Pennywise uses, like, you know, weird mental tricks to get people. Art uses a bunch of weapons, and it's just like, yeah, you know, it's like, everybody, you can do your own thing. I mean, how many silent killers with masks do you have?
Oh, God.
So many of those.
Too many to count.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's fine. There's plenty of room for everybody. It's like, you just do your own thing with things, and, you know, let the audiences just decide what they like. You get people. I mean, some people might not like Terrifier, but they might like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, or vice versa. So it's just like, there's something to appeal to everybody.
What's you got another thing coming up called Stream. What is
Yes. I can't really say much about that right now because we don't want anybody stealing the idea. But it's it's hopefully going to become another horror franchise. It's a very interesting twist on some modern day tropes and like types of programming that's out there, and so it's gonna be fun. We're trying to get some bigger names in the horror industry involved in it as well, but God, I wish I could say more. I wish I could say more because it's gonna be fun. Like the character I'm playing in, so it's gonna be a fun character. So it's just like
You got anything, Billy? You've been pretty quiet over there.
Oh,
yeah.
The scene that creeped me out in Terrifier is when that girl is hiding in that storage unit or storage locker, and Art's like has like the titties, and he's like creeping along.
Oh yeah, that was a night on set.
Yeah.
Oh, boy,
I was like, man, that's creepy as fuck.
That was a very special night on set. That was like one of those after school special nights on set where it's like, oh, a very special episode of Terrifier. That was Samantha Scaffidi's first night working with me as well. So that's how I knew how much I loved working with her, because I'm like, okay, I don't know how this girl is going to react to me walking out with tits on, right? But we'll find out. And as soon as she sees me, she's like, oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it. I'm like, okay, we are going to get along just fine. Because I was making jokes the whole entire night wearing that, because it's just like, you have to. And I felt so sorry for our poor crew because they had to stare at my naked butt all night. I'm like, I am sorry, guys. You didn't sign on for this. Because it wasn't even in the script originally. In the script, Art was wearing that all over his clown costume.
Oh,
and
wow.
Damien came to me 2 days before we filmed it. He's like, I have a very messed up idea that I want to run by you, but I don't know how you're going to like it. And I'm like, okay. And so he told me, and I'm like, huh. I had to think about it. I'm like, who the hell wants to see my naked ass up on screen? I'm like, have you seen me? I turn sideways, I disappear. It's just like, who wants to see that? But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That would be very, very freaky. That knowing that this guy stripped out of his clothes and put someone else's skin on top of his skin like that. That's messed up. Just to mess with someone else. He's doing that just to mess with someone's head. I'm like, that's messed up. And then I also was like, Catherine is doing what she's doing for this hacksaw scene, like having to like hang upside down naked like that. Like, if she can expose herself like that in such a vulnerable state, then I can do the same. So yeah, let's do this. Let's swing for the fences, because this is going to be freaky as hell if we pull this off. And it was. And we did 2 different takes of like the one you saw, and another one where I used the baby doll Emily, and I came out like having the doll nursing on my boob. Then I start using the doll to tell me where she's hiding. So I was doing a lot of puppetry with the doll, like it's talking to me and like raises its arm and points to where she's hiding and stuff like that. And we start taunting her and stuff like that. And both were extremely creepy. Damien basically had to flip a coin to decide which version to use. So it was fun. It was a fun scene to do.
I was gonna say, sounds like the set was fun. I guess working with all the other. How was it working with the other actresses and?
Oh God, that was great. I mean, that's the thing is like both of these films. Like Damien has done such a great job in casting people that work well together. It's like we all have just had so much fun. There haven't been any egos on set. No heads butting together or anything like that. Everybody's just had fun. And I'm like, we have gone through the ringer with both of these movies, like very late nights, very uncomfortable nights. Sometimes we get a little bit bitchy, but it's like it's the typical type of bitchy you get when you're like going off of like 3 hours of sleep and you're on hour 18 on set. You're like, yeah, everybody sucks.
Where's my coffee?
Yeah, exactly. Except I can't drink coffee when I'm in makeup, which sucks.
Oh man.
It sucks. So it's like, but it's like we all have so much fun. It's like there's a lot of just you wouldn't know it by the crazy horrible stuff we're doing on screen, but there's so much joking around as soon as they say cut. It's like I think we do that just to keep our sanity at times too. It's like I think the night when I was filming the bicycle scene, I think that was like one of the most crazy giddy nights we ever had on set, because there were so many mishaps happening with that stupid bike where I kept falling off. It's like that crash you see in the movie's a real crash. They just decided to keep it in because they're like, well, that just makes Art more interesting, that he's a flawed individual, so he crashes into things and falls off. It's just like, yeah. It was fun. It was that kind of stuff. I love it. It's like we all have fun. We all become like a family during these things. It's like it's a small group of people, and we're very dedicated to what we're doing, and we love what we're doing.
So do you think that this will turn into a bigger franchise, maybe go past part 2, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, do you like want to get to a certain point? Like, I don't want to do like 10 movies because maybe that will kill the character or something, or the myth, or you don't care. Like, man, I love this character. I'll do how many you want.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the character. I love the character so much. I think there's so much potential with the character. He's just fun. He's just a fun character. So as long as they keep on coming with like more ideas, more fun stories for him and stuff like that, sure, I'll keep doing it. I know Damien at least wants to do 3 films. So we've at least have a trilogy in mind this whole entire time. So we know how we want to end the trilogy. So, but at the same time, I think the ending we have is pretty cool, because it's like, if that is all that we make is 3 movies, then it ends in a very satisfying way. But it also kind of leaves things open in case they want to make more, but in a very creative way, not your, just typical ham-fisted way. It's like, oh, well, we'll just have a lightning bolt hit his grave and he comes back from the dead.
Yeah, please don't do Art in space. That's all I ask.
No, we'll be under the ocean.
Yeah.
All right.
Go
the other way with it.
Artlantis.
Artlantis.
Yep. Just, everything's in slow motion because it's all underwater.
Yeah. This
So
fight scene takes like 2 hours.
Good God. It's like just
Art
punching a
becomes a
shark.
father.
He's just using a shark to saw someone in half. He's using a sawfish. There we go.
There you go.
Sawfish.
Oh man.
Just like has
Is there a
swordfish? Whatever.
Is there a another like killer that you would like see Art do a crossover with, or maybe a dream one? Either fight each other, or maybe they've teamed up to kill people.
God, jeez. I mean, most people would say Pennywise or something like that. I'm like, yeah, no. I think, it'd be like one of those things, we talked about him earlier, another clown. I think Papa Corn would be a fun one to team up with. It's like, they also kind of look alike. So I thought of that. And someone also put this fun theory out there, and I was like, that's brilliant. I had to run it by Bill Moseley, see what he thought about it. He laughed his head off. It's like, yeah, some people like, is Art the son of Chop Top? I'm like, oh my God, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be.
It would make sense in a lot of ways too. Like, he's part of that family because he is a cannibal. So I'm like, well, he could be. He's like that, batshit crazy silent son. So it's like,
Yeah, have a movie with them. He finally reunites with his father.
Yeah. I think Bill and I would have so much fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Are there do you want to continue to do more horror movies, or would you like to branch off and maybe do other?
Oh yeah,
other genres.
Whatever. I mean, I'm just happy to act. I've done comedy my whole life, so I'd really love to do a good like comedy, even a sitcom. I'd love to do sitcoms or something like that. I'd love to do one of these superhero movies eventually. Not be ones. The only hero I would really see myself would be like either The Mask or like Plastic Man.
Oh,
but but no, there are a lot of villains I would love to play too, especially like the Batman universe. So of course, Joker, Riddler, Scarecrow, something like that would be a lot of fun. So.
Now, if they did a Mask movie, they got to do it like the comic where he's.
Oh, that's exactly what I've been saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the Dark Horse comic. Oh my! Because Deadpool proved that those type of movies would work now. You can totally do this, and that's how I would like this. It's like most people have not read those comics. I'm like, oh my God, they are batshit crazy, over the top, violent. Just. I'm like, and like Stanley's not the only one that wears a mask. He gets killed off by his girlfriend. Then she takes it. Then she gets killed off, and like Callahan takes the mask, and he actually becomes like the superhero type of mask character. So it's like, oh, so it's a great comic. I was like, that could be a really good series.
That would be really cool.
Hey, if they wanted to really do it justice, make that into like a Netflix series or something like that. That would be awesome. I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd be like, put me in, coach. Put me in.
You hear that, Netflix?
Yes. I am your
whoever
Stanley
works
Ipkiss.
Yeah, there you go.
I really am Stanley Ipkiss. I have cartoon stuff all over the place. I have a Tasmanian devil mug that I drink coffee out of all the time. It's just like it's anybody should be playing Stanley Ipkiss other than Jim Carrey. Come on, put me in, coach.
Yeah, not Jamie Kennedy.
Oh God, no.
Oh God. No.
Oh, do not even speak of that blasphemous movie.
That was terrible.
Oh God, son of a mask.
Son of a mask.
Should be called son of a bitch.
Yeah. Oh my God, that movie. It's like, and it had good people in it, like Alan Cummings and stuff like that. It's just like, and God, I mean, like Bob Hoskins is not Thor, but Odin. I was just like, I was like, what? That was like one of Bob Hoskins' last big roles. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's sad to have some of these actors, like their last movie, be like pure garbage before they die. It's like, oh, come on.
Well, I think it's funny that what's his name, Citizen Kane.
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Yeah,
there you
his
go.
like final role was what, Galvatron, in like, or what was it? Yeah, in the Transformer movie.
Oh wow.
Omicron. The big planet the big planet one that just ate everything.
It was either that.
Wells.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was either that or it was the some kind of alcohol commercial that he done drunk.
Oh God, that is so funny. Yes, I want to. Yes, you should try this. It's really good. Later, we gotta do another take. Okay.
Orson, over here. The camera's
right. I'm Orson Welles. Give me another brandy.
I tell you, he was a maniac when it came to directing movies, though.
Oh man. It's like, what is this? You want me to direct this commercial for peas? Peas.
Well, speaking of directors, what's your who's your dream director that you would love to work with?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, like Spielberg, of course. Peter Jackson, Guillermo del Toro would be a lot of fun. I think. Tim Burton, those kind of guys. I think even Taika Waititi. I think he would be a lot of fun. I like his. He would be fun to do a comedy with. I love his sense of humor.
Oh, me too. His movies are great.
Yeah, I've
Hunt
really
for the Wilder People.
Oh, it's just like What We Do in the Shadows. I'm like, I love that movie, and I love the show right now.
Oh, the show is excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
Gosh, I've been loving this season. It's just
I know.
Let's go to a superb owl party.
Oh man, that Jackie Daytona. I love
Jackie
that one.
Daytona.
He takes the toothpick out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it is you.
Yes.
I love it. God, man. That was awesome.
My darling.
The creepy paper. The creepy.
Dude, oh man, I could go on and on. That show's just brilliant.
The episode with Doug Jones is where he plays the head of the vampire. Oh my!
He plays the master.
Where he eats the pizza and had garlic on it. He's just throwing up. He's like flying around like a deflating balloon. He pops up. He's like, totally worth it.
How was I heard Mark Hamill's in season 2, right?
Yes.
Is he doing a pretty good job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackie Daytona. Jackie Daytona.
Yeah, that's the episode Mark's in.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man,
it's this they have vampire fight. It's just so funny.
So stupid.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
I love it.
It's just that toothpick. That's what.
Yeah. Time to get my disguise out.
Ties it all off with the toothpick.
Yes, the toothpick.
And denim jeans.
Yes.
Oh man, I
But the
love it.
episode with the ghosts, though, I thought that was so clever. Like vampires
Oh,
would
yeah.
have ghosts because they
yeah,
died.
yeah.
So it's like that's brilliant. I never thought of that before. Especially with Nandor, like his old self, didn't speak English, so he's like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't speak English, and I don't really
I
remember
forgot my
old
language." Yeah.
yeah. I was like, no.
Oh man.
Oh my god, it's a brilliant show.
I'm the odd man out here because I've never seen it,
Oh.
you
and
have
I've never
got to
watched
see
the
this.
movie.
Hey, if you got Hulu,
Yeah.
if you got Hulu, it's on there, man. You can watch both seasons.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to do that.
You have
It's
to binge
just
watch
so
it.
much fun. It's so
Hey,
much
you-
fun.
You've seen the movie, right, Carrie? You seen the
No,
movie?
no.
No,
I
he
haven't
said he'd
seen
never
it.
seen it.
Oh, never
Okay,
seen the movie.
see the
Oh.
movie first
Yes.
because stuff that happens in season 1 pertains to the movie. So it's just like it's because the movie, I think it was set in New Zealand because that's
Yeah.
So it's that coven of vampires because it's a whole mockumentary about vampires living together in a house. It's just and it's
Yeah,
not
there's
just
another-
vampires. They got other
No.
monsters in there too, like the werewolves. It's like we're werewolves, not swearwolves.
Not werewolves.
They're trying to act like they're not,
Hey,
beast
hey.
or whatever. Yeah, like we're trying to be civilized here.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll
They
I
also have
definitely need to check it out.
They also have another spin-off series called something. Those two officers in the movie, they have a spin-off where
Oh,
it
really?
follows them around. It's called
Oh, my
Paranormal something.
Oh,
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh, I got to see this then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. So I love that kind of humor. It's just like
Yeah.
it's so silly. It's just like you can just tell they're having fun. It's like that's my favorite type of comedy. It's like we're just playing. They're like, yeah, let's just. They're entertaining themselves. It's like if it's
Yeah.
funny to them, that's all that matters. I was like, that's great.
And not everybody gets that humor. Because I had the girlfriend watch it. She loves the show, but she didn't
Mhm.
really like the humor from the movie. So I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
well, it's not for everybody. You know?
Yeah, I love it though. I just love
Me
that
too.
kind of silly humor like that. It's just like this is fun.
Gary, you better go watch it. You know,
I'm
come back
going to
to
have
us.
to do that. I'm going to have to.
Yeah. We're going to
That's
tie you
watch it.
down, make you watch it.
Yeah.
It's creepy paper.
All right. If no one else has anything else,
No, I mean, I probably do. I just can't think of all of it right now. I mean, I just been having a blast talking about all this stuff.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Terrifier 2.
Oh God,
Um,
I can't wait for everybody to see this thing because it's. I think we've I keep calling it T2 because it's kind of like Terminator 2. T2. It's just T2 because it's like how Terminator was great. It's a lot of fun. Like Terminator 2 just took everything from Terminator 1 and made it better.
Yeah.
It's like everything you
Pretty
liked about
much.
Terminator 1, but then they kicked it up a notch. That's kind of what we've done with Terminator. Terrifier 2 is just like it's like everything we've kept everything everybody loved, especially about art. So we're still doing art's still art. He's still doing these big crazy kills, and we're not holding back at all on the kills. So there's plenty of blood and guts and all that fun stuff. But it's like we've added a bigger narrative element to this one. Our new protagonist is just fantastic. I mean, I think this week they just released some photos of her and her outfit that she wears for most of the film. It's just like this very winged Valkyrie type of outfit. So she's amazing in this role. It's just I absolutely adore her. She's not one of just very cookie cutter type of heroine characters either. She's got some backbone to her, some grit. It's just like she's not one of those. She's a flawed character too, is which I like. So it's just like it's just a fun film. It's just like it's not contained to one location like most of Terrifier was. It's all over the place. So it's like there's lots of fun environments that art gets to play in, I guess you could say. So.
And when can we expect it to be out?
Well, we were originally hoping for fall this year, but because of the pandemic, we don't know right now. It depends how quickly we can get everything filmed and edited and then out for distribution and stuff like that. We still got to negotiate all that kind of stuff. So, if it's not going to be this fall, we're hoping for early next year. Because that's kind of like what we did for Terrifier 1. We released in March of 2018. And then Netflix picked us up in that September, so it kind of gave us a second relaunch, I guess you could say. So, it's like, yeah, I mean, we wanted to be in fall because it takes place on Halloween night, but, sometimes you just got to play the cards you're dealt. So
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I was like, it's not like we're the only ones having to delay stuff right now, because, like, everybody is delaying stuff because no one can film right now. It's especially, I know like most of the TV shows are all having to like postpone their seasons until next year. So it's like, well, it's not just us, it's everybody right now. So
Yeah. Well, Full Moon's still pumping them out, so
yeah,
God,
they've had 2 movies
Let's
come out
not-
since
let's
the
not go
pandemic
there.
happened.
insane.
I don't want to go there with that movie. That was
Full
terrible.
moon. We don't give a shit.
Oh, man. It was like people just dropping dead on set from coronavirus. It's like, we'll just put another person in a wig and they'll never notice.
There you go.
Well, I know I really appreciate you coming on, man, and talking with us. I always have a blast hearing everybody's story, and especially get a little behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, like I said, part 2, I'm waiting.
Man, I'm waiting too, because God. I can't wait to finally be able to talk about the stuff we've been doing in part 2, because there's so much, and I'm like, it's just killing me. I recently got to see like the big huge crowd scene that we filmed recently. Damien sent me an edit of it, and I'm like, it's like a 10-minute long scene, and it's just batshit crazy from the start. It's just it's gonna be so much fun. You guys have no idea what you're in store for. It's a fun film, and that's the important thing. I think a lot of horror films have forgotten how to have fun. They're all trying to be so serious and have some kind of deep message or something like that. It's like, just have fun with it again. That's how like the old slashers were in the first place. They were just fun. It's like sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and like, let's just have some fun seeing people die.
Well, hopefully we can like have you back on, like closer to the release of the film, where you can talk more about it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to see it. I enjoyed the first one. And where can people find you on the internet if they want to?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under David Howard Thornton, and I'm also have a Cameo page in case you want me to do like some kind of videos and stuff like that. Especially now since the convention scene is a little bit weird right now, so like I unfortunately can't do autographs by mail at the moment and stuff like that. So I do a lot of Cameo videos for like birthdays and stuff like that. So I only charge what I charge for an autograph too. So I know a lot of people on there charge like $100. I'm like, no, I don't want people going broke.
Right.
It's like, no. So it's a fun way to just like interact with fans. I try to do that as much as possible, especially on my Instagram page. I try to, because I get a lot of messages, and I try to at least say thank you or something like that, and then the reply. So because I know how I used to be a fanboy myself, so anytime I would hear back from someone, I know how important that was. It would make sometimes my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So yeah.
All right. Well, it was a joy having you on here, and like I said, hope we can have you back on closer to the release of the film.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I had fun chatting with you guys. Y'all are fun.
Yeah.
We try to be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on our website now. You guys are fun, aren't the clowns?
Y'all are fun.
You guys are fun.
Y'all are better than the madness in the streets right now. Oh boy.
Yeah, this was good times. Yeah, so thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, guys.
Get you, Barbara.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. The unburied dead are coming back to